Well, there's a lot of controversy last week surrounding the Boyscast topic on whether wanking it.
Oh, cranking it with the testosterone?
Cranking it and testosterone. And a lot of people were saying different things, so I just had...
Because I know the Muhammad Ali famously didn't crank it before fights.
I know.
Because I think it just made him a little more aggravated.
And a lot of people had different opinions on that, so I did a deep dive on it, and I wanted to find out.
Oh, it's Ryan's Science Corner. We've been talking shit about science for fucking the last year. We get Ryan's Science Corner.
I was reading every article, and then I said...
Science.
Well, first, I started off by reading every article, and then I was just like, this isn't making a dent. I need to get in the field. I cranked it like fucking 12 times a day for 6 days straight.
They're like linking to Pornhub and stuff. You're like, all of a sudden you're watching porn. You're like, well, how did this happen?
So anyways, after my research of cranking it for 6 days, I decided that my testosterone's still super fucking high. So I looked in the mirror, and I'm still a jacked beast. It made zero difference.
Okay.
So my personal thing is I cranked it 12 times, and I go, what if I crank it 15?
Sure.
Cranked it 15, testosterone's still high, still a beast. I go, what if I do it 17 times? 17 times, I'm knee deep in my own sperm, fucking, but at the same time, I'm still a beast, still jacked, T's still really high, still making people flinch on the subway. So it had no effect on my personal T.
Yeah, they should offer like a sperm bank testosterone, like blood panel combination.
Bloods panel, because I'm in the Crips now. The way that fucking the guy in the blood and the guy in the subway.
Just so we can know.
He bumped me, and I go, fuck, what are you looking at, pal? This is the research, apparently. So cranking it to testosterone, basically all the studies say that it does not.
Yes.
However, there's a lot of other things that are linked to it. For example, okay, I'll give you some: stress, sleep, dopamine fatigue, sedentary lifestyle, lower competition. All of those things relate to testosterone, right?
I mean, if you're sitting in front of a computer 10 hours a day and you're, a man.
The thing is, the cranking it does not operate completely independently of you kind of not being out there. For example, competitiveness makes T higher, right?
Yeah.
So if you're out there trying to get girls and you're sort of in that zone, you're competing with other guys.
Sure, that cranks it up. Absolutely.
If you're dopamine fatigue, so if you're just nonstop cranking it, it all adds up to these other things, right? Like if you're sitting in your basement, just fucking drinking Mountain Dew, playing video games, cranking it, over time,
you'll become a low T individual.
You will.
Those are general low T behaviors.
Yes,
and then it's compounding.
It compounds. Yeah, you're not a guy that on every other thing in my life, I'm just I'm competitive, I'm crushing it. Also, I crank it 14 times a day.
Yeah, like that morning routine guy with the bananas on his face. Like that guy, if he rubs a couple out, no effect.
No, probably not if he doesn't make any other changes.
Yeah, if he goes, I added cranking one to my morning routine and my nighttime routine. No effect on testosterone. Still a jacked.
But the problem is it possible that he wakes up, he's about to do all this stuff, cranks it, and then he goes,
Yeah, he goes, I can go back to bed. 4:30 is kind of early.
Yeah, he goes, 4:30 is fucking, what am I doing?
I can go back to bed.
Right, it is possible that he's on his way to his morning gym session, cranks one out, and then he goes, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
What? It's these arms really.
What am I putting banana on my face for? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
And he was at the nighttime. He was like, "I'm gonna go sleep at 7 p.m." He cranks one. He goes, "I watch a couple episodes."
Sure. Oh yeah, what's going on in First 48, season 4?
Obviously, Landman's sort of heating it up.
Yeah, Landman.
So I think it's a mix of those sort of things.
Interesting.
But then again, you have to go the other way. Whereas, for example, cranking it, there's the competitiveness of what it takes to have sex with a woman. That sort of gets you juiced up. But the other side of it is, if you just crank one out for 5 minutes instead of spending an entire night with a woman, what is the benefits of that, right?
Oh, big time. A lot of benefits.
Well, if you think about that,
savings.
There's those benefits, but from a jacked up guy perspective, option one was you cranked it for 5 minutes and then you fucking grinded. Y'all sleeping, I'm working.
Yep.
Option two is you're like, oh fuck, I need to smash tonight. I just spent 7 hours with a girl lowering my T.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a life hack. Now that you're saying it, it's just crank one out. If it's a productivity hack.
But the problem is, it's probably a good short-term productivity hack, right?
Yeah.
But if you start to rely on cranking it, then over time you probably you don't keep all these high-profile routines when you're cranking it so much.
Yeah. See, the no fap thing, I kind of thought of it as more like they're just we're trying to be these super disciplined like going against, like we're basically just being very disciplined in that there's this thing we obviously want to do, but we're not going to do it.
Right.
We're not going to do it.
It's like a lifestyle discipline thing.
Yeah, it's like a discipline thing.
And it depends though, like, are you a disciplined guy, or do you spend, like, for example, getting in shape in general, being in shape, you're probably in better, you're in better, like
shape?
I was gonna say mental standing,
mental
like if you're gonna
benefits.
work a ton, right? However, if you're like sort of a 30 pounds overweight guy and you're like obsessed with food and you go, okay, now I'm spending 6 hours a day thinking about food and like obsessing over it and like my diet, and you're just like, you're actually less productive because that's the only thing you're consumed by it. So I think it's
just shove that Twinkie in your hole and get to work.
Exactly, right? Which some people do. So it depends on temperament, depends on a bunch of these different factors.
Interesting.
So this is sort of where I'm at with it. Like potentially short term, where you're just like, I was gonna go waste a whole night doing this. It's like cranked one out. Now I'm fucking back in it. But I think those over time, you don't just crank one out. It starts
the problem is that your testosterone naturally declines anyway. So then it's hard to say.
I've been saying that one of the things with because one of the things that naturally declining testosterone, it was like you're 30% less likely to commit crimes, but 100% more likely to be a bitch.
Yeah.
So that's a catch-22.
Sure. Yeah. God works in mysterious ways. Why does he do this to us?
When you're talking, because if you were attacking it from a productivity standpoint, I think, right? So you are. For example, if you crank one, when you're young, you aren't able to say no to sex. We've talked about this. You're in a car, fucking 2 towns over, like some, like a bitch that's just like a magnet to pussy, right?
Yeah.
And then you grow up and you're just like, hey, you can just say no.
Yeah. I don't feel like it tonight.
Right.
Not tonight. I mean, I will say with the testosterone thing, like not cranking and raising testosterone, if that was even like really 1% factually true, every bodybuilder would be like, want that edge. Right? Every professional bodybuilder would be like, yo, you don't crank it.
It would be a known thing.
It would be a known thing because they're like, for them, it's all like fractions of percents that like are the difference between
that's a huge point. They're like, this wouldn't be uncharted business.
This would be every bodybuilder would be like, yeah, you can't crank it. Like just like they have their diets totally set up.
They've probably done these a lot of these.
You do the water, like how you do like the purging your body of water before like a show, like they all do it, like every single one of them, because like that actually works. So they'd be like not cranking it.
I think you're probably right. That really makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't have different schools of thought. That would be settled science.
Exactly. Yeah. They'd just be like, you don't crank it 2 weeks before or 6 months or whatever.
But it is probably true that none of those guys are cranking 7 days a week like sloths. You know what I mean?
Well, those guys also have like tiny shriveled balls from all the steroids. Just like a little piece.
The other thing, that testosterone is one of the reasons you live longer. Like the women live longer, so they don't have as much of it. And I've been saying that
we should get on some estrogen.
It's a catch-22. Women get to live 7 years longer, but also they have
men get to live 7 years shorter without women.
Men get to live 7 years without women, and then also women have to spend their last 7 years looking like a man.
Alone.
You have to
stupid widow.
You have to spend it alone looking like a man.
Dumbass widow.
And by the way, people do like have that conversation about video games.
Yeah.
And I've been cooking in, which by the way, you have to join me because
playing video games.
There's an arcade moved across the street from me. I'm telling you. I walked in. I'm a Pac-Man guy now.
You're a Pac-Man guy. One of the greatest Jewish video games, Pac-Man. It's Pac-Man.
Pac-Man, Spider-Man, Batman. I think my tea is fucking juiced through the roof.
Do they have the Pop Shot?
No, if they had Pop Shot, I would have came in here and flipped the table.
If they had Pop Shot, I'd just be waiting here. Go, where's Ryan? You're just like fucking you against some 9-year-old, just like dummying him.
You wouldn't be waiting because I beat all the records, buddy. I played Pac-Man for.
It's the same one in Long Island City because there's also one by my house.
You got to come through, man.
Yeah, let's do
it. I did a day this Sunday, and I was like cooking around, and I found this new arcade. First of all, people there mean business. The guys who work there look like Stranger Things. They've got they got
horn rim glasses, all that
horror
stuff.
T-shirts. The guy had the fucking gloves with the fingers cut off.
Oh, really?
He was dead serious about this business.
Do they have the quarters?
He's got the belt.
Is
with
it
the
a quarter?
quarters.
Really? Belt with quarters?
No, he didn't have the belt with quarters. I'll tell you what was funny though. Because at first I felt like I wasn't that good at Pac-Man, but then I just
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man, I sort of figured it out where all of a sudden I just like clicked and I was just like beating high scores right and left.
Yeah.
Because I kind of figured out what the move was, and you sort of, whatever. I don't need to tell you my techniques.
Yeah.
But the bottom line was I finished it, and I was probably there for 2 hours. I had 4 of the top 10 high scores.
Really?
So I'm just like, well, I might be the best at Pac-Man in the world, right?
Yeah.
And I was like wondering, I walked up to the guy and I'm like, hey, you don't reset this every day, right? I wanted to know. And he goes, no, it's since we've been here, like, which has been like 3-4 weeks, like it hasn't reset it. And I was like,
3-4 weeks?
yeah.
Oh, it's only been open for 3-4 weeks.
That's a decent amount of weeks.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, how many games are there?
I don't know. Pac-Man's the only Pac-Man.
Yeah, I don't know. Pac-Man sucks.
Well, whatever.
Do they
No,
have
it's an
NBA
attraction
Jam?
here. Well, you sound like
They have
him.
Terminator?
It's a pinball cafe.
Oh.
The thing is, you sort of sound like this guy because I sort of went up to him and I'd be like, I just want to confirm this isn't like some scam. I actually beat all the records.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then he looks at me and he's like, well, most of the people are 10.
This is Ryan at the strip club. I'd just like to confirm, you really do love me, right? Just to confirm, I know I've been paying you all night for lap dances, but you're in love with me, right?
The guy the guy sort of killed my buzz a little bit.
Yeah, he goes,
He's like, it is. He goes, because I was like, because I beat all the high scores. I was wondering, like, is that common or am I the best at this in the world? And the guy's like, it is mostly 11-year-olds playing that game.
That's excellent.
So 11-year-olds know who Arnold is. I'll tell you that much. When they come in, I see the fucking 11-year-olds in the corner whispering, like, I think that's Arnold.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's him. That's him.
That's Arnold.
Should we talk to him?
The guy comes up to me, I just knock his quarters out of his hands.
Oh, my bucket of quarters.
I definitely thought I was the king, but I was
Do
telling
they have
you.
NBA Jam?
No, I'm telling you, it's a pinball cafe
Pac-Man's not
mostly.
they
have like
it's mostly
3
pinball.
other things. Yes, they have 3 other golden jewels, but mainly pinball. It's like 40 pinball machines.
I'm not a big pinball guy.
Well, that's why we play Pac-Man.
Yeah, Pac-Man.
I wasn't either, man. That's why I played.
Well,
a couple
there's
games
by
of
my
pinball.
house.
They're all the exact same.
By my
man.
house on the other side of the water, there's like a similar arcade thing, but it's all just arcade games mostly. Yeah. I've never been in it. I walk by it though.
Yeah, I know. I normally don't care, but I was in the
let's
zone.
do
I
it
was a
up.
couple drinks deep. But I would say that to me, the benefit of tea, if I was to summarize this whole thing, it's sort of like liquid courage.
Yeah.
In that, you know, when you know how like some people get really good at, you're better at picking up girls when you're drunk, or some people do stand-up comedy, but you don't want to rely on it, right?
No.
So you don't want you want to eventually, you have to, as your tea drops, you almost want to be like, you want to be a risk taker and not fearful mentally.
Sure.
So you almost need
you have to be mentally teed up.
Yeah, it's like the guy. It feels a little bit like the guy that, you know, he's really good at, like, he's like a tough guy when he's drunk, but then he's kind of like timid, doesn't like talking to people, and you're like, well, you don't want that.
No.
You don't want to be your fucking liquid courage.
Sure.
You want to actually internalize that as you get older, where now you're just like a strong person.
Yeah, you want to be that like 60-year-old dad who like someone's like acting up in line at like the McDonald's, and you go, you want to go outside, buddy? And
You
you're
do
like,
not want
but you're
this.
people are like, I've never even seen my dad fight. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Never fought anybody ever.
Yeah, because it's not the tea juicing through his body. He's mentally a badass.
Yeah, he's just mentally, he goes, justice needs to be served.